All right, welcome back to The Drive. We are talking about luck today. I don't know if you've ever experienced a hot streak gambling, if you've ever felt as though you were extremely lucky. In other words, that fate and fortune was kind of facing you. The sun was shining in your direction versus cloudy skies. There's nothing worse than slumping, though. And all of us that have had success have also experienced slumps. And I would just say that slumps and luck cannot coexist in the same vehicle. They can't ride together, okay, going towards the same destination. And so some of you watching may feel like this is a lucky season. Some of you may feel like this is a slumping season. We're going to talk about that, unwrap it on today's episode of The Drive. You know, by definition, they say that luck is success or failure brought about by either chance versus the actions that you take. So in other words, actions that you take, decisions that you make, that is when you are creating your own luck. However, when you have failed to put forth effort, when you have failed to make the right decisions and all of a sudden it just goes in your favor, chance smiles on you, that is the definition of lucky. Now, I'll tell you, man, I wouldn't be sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in without a little bit of luck. I would like to call it a nod from God. Hopefully you would too. Somebody went to bed last night, didn't wake up this morning. Somebody's going to bed tonight, unfortunately not waking up tomorrow. So we all know that, look, I believe God puts breath in our body. If there is a way, though, to tap into this thing called luck and avoid this thing called slumps, well, damn it, I'd love to know what it is. I'd love to apply it to my life, to my kids' lives, to my spouse's life, and live a lucky life versus a slumpy life. I want to talk about slumps. I played baseball in high school, a little bit in college, more football in college. But a slump is when you find yourself doing things, experiencing results that are not the norm, okay? It's usually attached to baseball players where you go through a slump in baseball. I don't know if it's accurate that the great Yogi Berra was credited with inventing the word slump. That's the article that I read. We'll give it to you, Yogi. At the same time, all of us have experienced this. And I just want to say this. There's one of three different kinds of people watching right now. Number one, you're about to go through a slump and you don't know it. In other words, your business has been striving. Maybe your relationships have been striving. You've been thriving in an arena and in an area that you're just like, bro, I am in the zone. There is nothing better, right, than being in that zone. If you're shooting baskets, if you're swinging a golf club, if you're hitting softballs, throwing footballs, if you're in business making sales calls, if you're trying to hit quarterly profit numbers and you've just been crushing it, bro, that is a feeling you never want to leave. You want to live there, but inevitably, slumps come, don't they? And many of you watching right now don't even know, but guess what? Tomorrow, when the phone rings, when the text message comes, when the email is open, it's going to be like, oh shit, Craig was just talking about that yesterday. Slumps happen. And the first type of person that's watching is somebody that's about to go through a slump. The second type of person watching is you're in a slump right now. I mean, you're going through things that, man, last year you never went through. You're going through things that in the spring of, whatever year you never, ever experienced. And you were rolling, bro. You were balling. Things were it's almost like you couldn't miss. You were shooting half-court shots and they were going in. Every sales call you were making, it seemed to be yes after yes after yes. And it was favor everywhere you looked. And all of a sudden, it's like, guess what? The skies went gray. The water was turned off. And you find yourself in what they call a slump. Here's the third person, though, that is watching right now, and you're the individual that's coming out of a slump. And God knows I've been in them. God knows I've come out of them and gone back into them at times. And when you're coming out of a slump, there is nothing better. It's almost like you ever get colds. I know when COVID came out, the flu doesn't exist anymore, right? Because of what COVID did to us all. But there's nothing better, in my opinion, than when you have the flu or COVID or whatever it is, those 2 weeks once you're better, Like once you feel back to yourself, your back isn't aching, your body isn't is ridden with temperature and all kinds of trouble. You just feel like, oh my God, I'm alive again. Coming out of a slump feels like that. Let me just speak to all of us slumpers, if I can. And by the way, if you're watching this, you're a slumper. The fact that you're going through a slump in the business that you're in defines the reality of your greatness. If you sucked, you wouldn't have had the chance to slump. Because the only reason you go through a slump is because you experienced greatness. You experienced levels of success. You did things numerically, that not metaphorically, numerically. You hit numbers. You were making, if it's an income, if it's a sales quota that you had to hit, if it's whatever the measurable is, you were dominating. Now, how do I know that? Because things had to have gone down for you to call it a slump. If you sucked from the beginning, look, you would have never slumped. You just sucked at that, right? I mean, look, I'm a terrible ice skater. I don't go through slumps in ice skating. Trust me, I've got scars on my body from falling and hitting the ice. I go through slumps in golf. I've gone through slumps in business. I've gone through slumps in relationships, but never in a relationship that failed from the beginning. That relationship had to excel. And whatever it is you're doing that right now you were at a place, let's say a 10, and now you're back to a 6. Why did that happen? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I think it kind of coincides with this word luck. And a lot of people ask, Craig, is luck real? Can I just answer you? Hell yes. Luck is for real. Luck is, look, it is the most real experience that you can create in your life if you're going to follow this little pattern that I'm going to show you, possibly than any other measurable, okay, that is in your formula. People talk about beginner's luck. They talk about the luck of the draw, the luck of the Irish, as if it is geographical. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but not the definition that I'm going to give you today. By the definition I'm going to give you today, I'm going to tell you, I am one of the luckiest sons of bitches that has ever lived. I am one of the luckiest men to have ever lived in business, in relationships, in finances, in friendships. I remember growing up in a trailer. I remember being driven to school in cars where I would say, Mom, Dad, drop me off like a mile from the school because of how bad the brakes were when they would press them. I still remember days of my dad pouring out money onto his bed out of this little plastic, it looked like a water jug, and counting out $5 in quarters and dimes and nickels for me to go to the movies. And thinking to myself, man, is this family not in a slump or what? Have I not been born into some bad luck or what? Here's what I've learned. While slumps are inevitable, inevitably, you're going to go through seasons of ups and downs, of peaks and valleys, of where you are thrashing it, crushing it, absolutely just you can't miss. And then there's going to be times where it's like, wow, it just doesn't seem the ball is financially bouncing my way as it pertains to business. But there's a way to accelerate you out of those slumps. The great Jim Harvey, my uncle, taught me something, and he said this is so great. And this is the whole premise of this podcast today. Luck, Jim Harvey said, is when opportunity meets preparation. I don't know how young I was when Jim taught me that, but it stuck with me forever. He said, Craig, luck is when opportunity marries, goes to bed, and has a baby. When opportunity and preparation have a baby, they name her luck. And so I just want to ask you, let's just start with preparation. What does preparation look like to you? I mean, what does it look like? What are the optics of preparation? Because if luck follows the parent of preparation, I think it's important that we dive into, what do you think? What do you believe preparation looks like? I have met so many people in multiple arenas that in whatever it is they're doing, they are just winging it, man. They're off the cuff. They're unscripted. They're uneducated, unprepared. Can I say it like this? They use charisma over content. They try to use, let's say, personality over planning. They get up and try to use jokes versus journals of what has historically worked and data-based formats that have proven themselves to be successful over time. And what I've learned, this is just me, the formula to keeping that horseshoe up your lucky ass is being prepared. Now let's dive into this and really talk about it, because what I've learned about preparation is there's two words that have really, I would say, crafted a lot of the success that I have been able to experience. And that is trying to avoid repairing because I was prepared. So let me say that again. You can prepare or you can repair. Most people, let me say a lot of people that fail, spend their life repairing because they didn't prepare. As we come to you today, there was opportunity for me to spend time in study and preparation and thinking about what I'm going to say. I could have prepared and it could have gone right. When you do a business lecture or when you do a presentation, when you sit in front of an influencer, a decision maker, an investor, a client, an agent, someone that their decision is based on their perception of how you performed in that moment, will they say you were prepared? Or would you like a mulligan? Would you like a do-over? Would you like to go back and repair? See, so many people, it's almost like you can never get ahead because you're always repairing from yesterday's unpreparedness. And so that's one of the things I would encourage you to do is be the most prepared person in the room. Can I just say the most prepared person in the room, generally speaking, winds up being the luckiest person in the room? When I talk about preparation, I'm talking about showing up early. I'm talking about knowing the script, forwards, backwards, accounting in advance for anything that could and would and might go wrong. When I talk about preparing, I'm saying that I remember playing quarterback as a young kid, and I knew the assignment of every offensive lineman. Not that I was great, but my mind was sharp, and I knew what every receiver was running. I knew what the fullback and the tailback and what every person was doing before the snap happened. And so being prepared before whatever action you're about to take occurs, oh my God, it puts you in a position of being the luckiest individual in the room. And so I would encourage you right now to just think, are you preparing or are you repairing? It's funny. I'm a huge UFC fan. I've been to, 50 some live UFC fights. Junior Dos Santos, shout out to you. Cigano, one of my great friends and brothers on this planet, used to talk to me, and he would say, Craig, before Dana White puts the belt around my waist, before my hand is raised, okay, in that octagon, way before I'm recognized as a champion, the work is done in preparing. Now, if I get into that ring and I'm not prepared and I get my ass whooped by a whomever, there's a lot of repair that has to happen. And I'm telling you, in your business, it will save you so much time, energy, money, influence, credibility. Your namesake is being the most prepared in any arena that you step into. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It's not free, but it's freaking worth it. And it creates what we call luck. So initially, you got to embrace the reality of what Jim Harvey said, and that was luck is when what? Opportunity and preparation. Go in the back room, make a baby, and that baby is called luck. So we've covered preparation. I want to hit opportunity because this is so huge, man. The more opportunities you get, the luckier you become. Wouldn't you agree? The more shots on goal you take, right? What's the old saying? 90% of the putts you leave short don't go in. Okay. What is it? 100% of the sales calls you don't make, you never close. And so when we talk about opportunities, when we talk about you stepping into a place of you being able to deliver in that moment, I just want to say that luck fades when opportunities cease to exist. And so many times that I've seen, we're looking for this picture-perfect, picnic-esque opportunity, meadowside, where the wind is blowing and the sun is shining and everything is just wonderful, for that opportunity to pounce or to step in or to charge in on something that could be. I want to encourage you that every, I'm going to say, hour of your life, there are opportunities all around you of people. I used to tell the guys that work with me, so often we're driving by commissions on our way to an appointment. We meet so many people at lunch that hate their lives. For those of you that attend church, you meet so many parishioners that are just like, dude, I'm going through life, just going through the motions. No light at the end of the tunnel. If there is, praying it's not a train. You know, this isn't what I designed or thought that my career or my name would kind of be like, but yet here I am. And they don't have an answer, and yet you, in an arena that you're in, have solutions, don't you? I pray you do. I hope you do. And my advice to you is to take more shots on goal, to talk to more clients, to talk to more people, to talk to more prospects, to put yourself in multiple opportunities over and over and over again. And so as you're prepared and as you have this opportunity, guess what happens? Luck is born. Luck is born, baby. And so luck fades when what? Preparation sleeps late, or opportunities decrease. That's worth drinking good water to. Think about it. Luck fades. People say, my luck has run out. I'm going through a slump. This person's just more favored. It's just their time and it's not my time. I'm just not lucky. Really? Let me ask you a question. Are you as prepared as you used to be? I mean, are you really taking it as serious as you used to take it? Are you as opportunistic as you once were? I talk about, and I see people that say, Craig, I've got bad luck or I've got good luck. Can I tell you, it is entirely determined and dependent upon how prepared you are in any scenario and how many opportunities you give yourself. People say their luck's run out, their luck hasn't run out. Your preparation is faded. You're not as serious as you used to be. You're not as committed as you used to be. You're not as dedicated to your craft as you used to be. You're leaning on your reputation of what you did. You're letting yesterday's home runs try to win today's ball games. Bullshit. You know it and I know it. Come on, we didn't get into the game like that. We didn't get into this like that. Let's not go out like that or be remembered like that. Come on, shame on us if we allow ourselves to stoop to that level. That's why you're tuning in, I hope, because we are better than that. And sometimes we just need a reminder. Sometimes we need to know, you know what? I'm slumping because my swing isn't as great as it used to be. I'm not spending as much time on the range or in the cage or in the book or studying the material that I used to study. That's what made me great. It wasn't charisma. It wasn't, some kiss from some God. No. It was willing to do what others weren't willing to do. And that's what's made you great. I'm talking about staying great. Not just winning a title. I'm talking about keeping the title. And so my message to you today is, if you are slumping, if you think you've stopped being lucky, let's go back to what created the luck in the first place. Let's go back to what created you avoiding slumps in the first place. I'm telling you that getting lucky and staying lucky is a choice. It is preparation. Going to bed with opportunity.